it. But before we get to the topics, why not we take initial 2-3 minutes if you could take us through your journey so far?
Thanks, Rishikesh. First of all, thanks for inviting me to having a discussion on the topic is very close to our heart, right? The industry what we are in. So just to introduce, my name is Sitaram Acharya Jankoti. I've been in this industry from last 22 years odd. Started when the industry was growing or in the initial phase of growing, right? So I was there in Bangalore where I completed my studies from, and then started doing the initial job with the banking industry. So my whole half of my life is into the banking industry, around about 12, 14 years. And post that banking industry, I have seen everything. I have seen that's growing in terms of new innovation coming up, startup coming up, a lot of money in terms of doing the transformation was coming up. So those things we have seen it growing, and then still that is growing, and it will grow for next 30, 40 years until we find a perfect solution, right? What we call. So let's see for that. And then I thought, let's move out and look into some other industry also. So I have looked into manufacturing, retail, logistic, and more or less now just 2 years back, mining also, because I wanted to be part of the mining industry and understand how the things works. So this is what exactly I have done. From 2018 onwards, I believe I have started moving a bit into my technological transformation also personally. So I have been a winner of 2018 CIO Next 100 part. So I have been part of that Fortunate 100 who has been chosen by India's top CIOs, right? So that I've been part of that one. And then I've also started looking into the other management trainings and everything, and just completed independent director course given by IICA. So that's one of the best course you can see, which I've thought I'll complete in 3-4 years. And then we have just completed that. And I'm just looking for some opportunities in that area and just see that how I can go in a different phase of my life from here. So from technology to management and management to transformation and innovation side of that in a bigger scale, right? So this is what a 2 minutes of short content I have for me.
So, to start with, shall I call you Sitaram or Acharya is better?
Acharya is better.
Acharya is better. Okay. So, the first thing that we'd like to understand from you, Acharya, is that, you have a career which spans across IT services, BFSI, telecom, manufacturing, now retail also, and now mining as well. So would you consider the most critical, tangible outcomes that any leader, especially from the perspective of, say, IT services, BFSI, would expect from a technology adoption?
See, every industry has a different challenges. They are in the time where things are changing very fast. If you'll see technology from 2000 to 2010, 2010 to 2020, the pace of transformation has gone very fast. So the challenges for the management or the CIO or CTO is much more different than what used to happen in earlier days. Earlier days you're supposed to have a operational efficiency, right? Think about the metrics will be like how fast a transition can be done. But those are not the case now. Much more thing has changed in terms of both security is there. So a lot of risk management has come into the picture because your applications are getting exposed outside. So you have to be very, very careful with what kind of technology you're using, what kind of thought you have behind that one. So you take that risk mitigation. Especially in the banking, if I take that one as a tangible outcome, or I have to control a factor of that one, it will be always the risk factor of that, or governance of risk over there. So take it attacks from outside, take it the internal system issues, those kind of risk will be the primary one. Then the operational efficiency, which people look for, right? How the application is behaving, how fast it is, what is the downtime. This will be one factor of that, which has to be there. That is like, it need to be there. That there is no compromise on that. And how fast you can be, that's all you design for. And so you can sustain for next 2-3 years with 1 million hits per second. So that kind of things, it should be there. There's no negotiation on that. But in terms of, because the security portion has changed in last 10 years, the kind of attacks which is happening, the kind of money laundering which is happening, the kind of innovation has been brought, and the people who are behind those fraud and some kind of risk attacks over there, they have also grown up, right? And they are putting a lot of effort, a lot of different way to get across with that. So you have to be a step ahead. You have to plan for that. You have to have a proper budget for that. You have to make sure that your systems are in place. You bring innovation on that area, and then you make sure your product is gauging on that area. So I believe out of all the operational efficiency, performance, and everything, I feel the major portion now, what we are seeing into the banking in specific, is your risk and governance. Along with that, there are compliances also, because now along with the frauds are happening, both external and internal, the compliance teams are much more rigid now. They think very traditional, but they want to go across innovation also. Here what happens, the lot of new companies who are coming, which are innovating, right? They're helping us with their products, with their thought process, with their processes. So I believe, to answer your question, I think I'll take the first and most in banking specific will be your risk and mitigation plan to be looked into. Going back to some other industry, it may differ. Like cloud will have a different challenge where the costing is the factor, because you go to cloud and then you realize you're paying more than what exactly you used to pay down. You don't maintain your system correctly. Developments are still there in cloud, which should ideally not be there, which is eating your lot of revenue, right? So that portion has a different, and then you have other health ops is there. Then I've been part of logistics, so there is efficiency required over there in terms of health part. Now the compliance is major, because that is driven by a lot of data regulations over there, because your personalized data is there. Yeah, so we can talk about in phases, but as you said, what major I see, that's a part of the risk and governance.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, talking about cloud transformation and modernization, Acharya, what outcomes have you personally prioritized, like whether it's cost savings, uptime, agility, or something else?
See, cloud as a general, right, that has been designed for a lot of agility and downtime. You make sure that you have downtime consideration over there. So why we go for cloud? Because we have seen, if you'll see again, I'm going back to the days where the downtime was a major issue. Somebody making a mistake, some technical guy making a mistake brings that particular downtime or performance issues over there. Not more than a system, it was a user dependent system.
Yes.
So why cloud, after the cloud adoption happened, why cloud is more, adaptability portion is more, just because we are able to bring down that processes over there or automation over there where we can do virtualized system. The second thing, we can go across with the downtime. We can make processes. So one system is down, so it will take care by some other node or some other availability zones over there. So you are covered over there. Now, the major portion is coming is nothing but how we can make a system cloud neutral. So today, think about, if I give example for top three, Amazon, Google, and Azure, and you developed a system for Google.
Yes.
And then you have acquired a company who has into something in Azure. Now, the compatibility building that one into a single factor is a major issue. So it's not, as a small company, you don't so much go into the system, right? Because you are still able to manage that. But the moment you are going into M&A, merger and acquisitions over there, and then there is a problem comes where you have multiple systems, you have to integrate that. First thing, I think the factor which we look into or what we have to design for is something, but one is your cloud, it should be a cloud neutral thing. So if tomorrow, if your system has to be brought down to something else, you can think about that. Second portion is something, but I believe performance is one of the factor, not due to the compute section. Compute is all covered by cloud. So you pay as and go and you make a lot of things over there, but how you design your services in a micro level conjunction. So what will happen? It can, even if one system is going down, it will not bring down your whole system. It will one portion. Think about if your customer's journey is there in a banking system, you have you have to see the balance of a system, and your balance system is down. It should not make effect of the payment systems, right? So the micro level strategy you have to design nowadays. That's a major portion we have to fight back, saying that how we can divide the whole system into small chunks, how we can maintain that, how we can design such a way that it can go anywhere in any of the systems, and then we can integrate that in a better way to make the performance. And it's an ongoing process, right? We cannot say that it's the end of the journey. A lot of new technologies are coming, which is helping you, especially if you'll see nowadays you don't write codes. You have AWS Code Whisperer or AWS Q is there. You integrate with your plugins and then you, so what I see is something, but in next 5 years, somebody writing a code will not be there. Right? So it will be written by AI. You integrate Copilot or some other tool plugin, and then, so what will be your thought process that how you can bring that product such like that it will connect in a very smallest form and it can sustain all the load and architecture also, and then can perform to the customer. So product should be that robust. So the focus will be not like 5 years back, we used to think that how the code will be written, how the testing will be done, how the things will be deployed. All those things slowly will go down. The AI portion will do some part of the coding. You have to validate that, of course, but your capability building for the new generation also will be more towards how to write those code in such a way that it will micro level compatible, and then again it will be cloud compatible also, right? So that way will sustain. Otherwise, what will happen if you are focusing so much in coding, it will not survive. So this is what exactly we have to look into, at least.
Got it. Now we'll come to the BFSI part of the things, is that especially in the internet banking and payments, how do you measure success? Like, is it the transaction speed, reduced downtime, customer retention, or compliance adherence?
I think that's a very good question, right, Rishikesh? So I believe in the BFSI now more towards the system. The customer expectation is something, but how easy it is, how fast it is, and how cost effective it is. You take in last 10 years, we have seen the UPI coming in India. If you go outside India, you don't have UPI factors over there. So people, when they come to India, what they are proud, or what we are proud to show them, that we have something which can just scan and can pay. So this is all user convenience came into the picture from our side, right? Which is driving all the innovation now. What is going to happen, or what we think that in next 4-5 years, the customer will again drive a lot of things over there. Like UPI, there are a lot of other factors, like if I'll take example, if a rural person doesn't have a smart mobile, how he can do how do it? Because our rural capability is around about 60% of the whole country's capability, right? The number of resources what we have in terms of human is concerned. So if you are still able to only charge upon the middle tier or tier 1 and 2 kind of a city, we are not able to penetrate into rural area, remote villages, where these services has to be driven out. So payment for me is successful when it will go to the last mile of the country, yes, and where we are far away from now. So I think I was looking to one of the interview from Nandan Nilekani, who's the co-founder for Infosys also, and he's the designer for your UPI also, right? Yes. So they also talking about that thing only, that how we can build that capability for rural. Can we do through some SMS? Can we do through something like that? And on that portion, now with the rising issue of attacks or fraud which is happening, which is one of the mental block for every people, saying that why should I use UPI, because it may be frauded out. My UPI can be leaked out. And it happened in some of the cases. There is a way to snoop your SMSs and everything, and they can something do it across that. We'll not go into details of that, but that will be the next 5 years of driving whole portion of payment gateway. That will also integrate with a micro level of loans and services across that one. So think about health sector required a lot of good, not a good hospital, but if you need some payment for that one, we will not have that payment, right? So how we can divide that into a smaller portion, so it will be sustainable for a person in the last mile. So I believe, to answer your question, I think what I see from here to next 5 years is we have covered a portion for us where we are talking about our tier 1, tier 2 companies or cities. Now it's a time for slowly moving our innovation towards the rural part and making sure that it's not affecting their mental block or in terms of fraud and everything. So we are fraud proof, and it will be a convenience part of that. I don't know what kind of system we can be able to generate in next 3-4 years based on that one, but whatever will come and whatever will sustain in the market will be catering to that particular 60% of the market now. So I believe we have seen Paytm coming with smart speakers, right? So that's one of the innovation. Something like that, maybe you can do it through your mobile or some kind of a kiosk in all the rural part. I don't know today, but I believe a lot of work is getting done through all the startups in the industry who will be chasing this particular part and possibly bring some product line for that one.
Got it. This is great, actually, Acharya. And now we'll go to, taking your opinion on a few, technology interventions that's coming up. And the first is that what is your view on the effectiveness of multi-cloud or FinOps tools in delivering sustainable value?
So I believe before that one, I spoke about something called as cloud neutral things, cloud neutral applications. So multi-cloud is all about that. Today you think that this particular thing is not working because what is happening, all cloud players are giving different capabilities. Some giving compute, some giving some kind of very much performance based system. Some giving you, like Google, if in specific, if I'll ask you, they are known for their big data analysis, trillions of data, will chunk it out and give you the storyline what you're looking for, right? Amazon is all about your compute portion of that. Now, so when you design something, you see all this capability which are coming in the market or which is there in the market. Along with that, you club your data protection laws over there, because in India, I think data protection laws are getting in. So that also need to be got into. And then design your products in next 2-3 years on that particular front. So you cannot have your application sitting in, we can still do it, sitting in Australia, and one of your database sitting in some ability zone in Europe, and then they're communicating back. right? So what you got to do, first of all, you have to bring it into the country. That's what will be the norm for everybody now coming in. Europe has that GDPR. US has different services for that, and India will also have that compliance sector. So that multi-cloud has to be into a single spectrum, and along with that one, that will drive the whole part of that. But in this whole journey, now because the stability is coming, all the multiple vendors has to fight back for the cost. Because I have a multiple compatibility, I can go here and there. I can also decide that, okay, for me, this cloud is not working fine. Possibly today I'll not go. And can I do a plug and play of my code into some other vendor? And there where the consolidation will happen, and there where the whole industry will move towards slowly. And I think in some cases they are doing. Second thing, what I see is the thing, but lot of industry are making their own cloud also in their own premises now. Like they're investing for that. They are not going and adopting to the standardized cloud players, because again, the costing is one factor is there. We don't know what exactly is happening with that. So they are also bringing their customized cloud. So it will be very interesting to see that. And possibly next 4-5 years, your quantum computing will be stabilized, because I was been to IIT Bombay and Madras also. I have seen their labs in quantum, and I'm studying Google's quantum and everybody's quantum they're investing on, right? Once that will integrate, so your cloud will be vaporized. There will be nothing called as multi-layer cloud. What you do, you have a layer, you put your data center, you put a layer and connect to your quantum or some compute system, and it will take that compute. You only pay for that compute, for the particular compute or the services what is they're good on, but you save the money on the front layer in terms of where you are keeping the data and everything. So I see that is happening slowly, and it will grow on that front in next 3-4 years. It will grow like that.
Yeah, and it will also ensure data security. Like
yes, of course, because that's the prime of everything. The whole ecosystem is working around your data now.
You have invested quite a time inside BFSI domain as well, and you know that most of the banks have a very legacy systems in place. But there are a few products which are trying to bring in core banking modernization, right? And so what do you what is your opinion on that? Like, is there a way to balance this innovation with regulatory compliances? Because that is one concern which banks has.
See, that's a very intense question, right? Because innovation in banking, they're trying from last ages now. Every time there is a technology comes, the banking is the last guy who goes and look into that.
Yes.
He wants compliance to the highest.
Yes.
But when the ecosystem, what they have developed, like especially in the core banking area, if you see top 10 banks in India and abroad also, they are still working on mainframe and AS400. And that is working from 1980s. I think the first time the banking came into online system. Right? Yes. From there in onwards till now, it's 40-45 years of time, right? And then still you are not able to crack that particular thing. See, right. What happens, let's divide into 3 portions now. The major bank, a mid-term bank, and a regular scheduled bank. Now, innovation on the scheduled bank has happened very fast, because they are able to, they had a single bank, they didn't have major content, maybe they're servicing only customer for loans and your retail banking, some products they have of their own, so they're able to do. So what happened when in the market, if you talk about Finacle or Infosys has Finacle, some other team have something else, or TCS has some products over there, they're able to penetrate on that business line, scheduled bank, very effectively. They're able to manage everything because that is managed by a third-party vendor or a party who are partnered with them. So that is very efficient over there. So they're able to innovate. Now, mid-term banks are like investment banking, asset management teams, and those kind of things, right? So they have retail, some portion of asset management. Now, here is the problem. Because when they started a bit early. Now, going back and converting to a new technology, think about microservices for those things, just because over the time they have acquired so much. So they have acquired multiple banks, the multiple products. They like something, they integrated that one. Over the time, they have multiple system in multiple layer. They're not able to do it. They try that one multiple times. This is not happening. So I believe that has resolved slowly by going into the open banking standards. So what you do, you put a AS400 system, a legacy system is there. You create a layer for that, put a open banking APIs, and then you create your system, which will be front-ending and addressing those APIs only. So that way you are able to bridge something in the middle and they're able to sustain. Now, how will happen for next 5, 7, 10 years? One thing, they can rewrite the whole code. It's a big task. If you think about one portion which is facing the customer or which is facing the staff, it's very easy to do it. But if you talk about the whole logic, what they have developed over 20, 30, 40 years, with multiple systems, not only retail banking, their investment banking, their loan systems, their treasury systems, they're interfacing to the multiple payment gateways and as in as O, right? So that is one portion it will be very interested. I don't think it will happen overnight. They have intermediary solution as a API systems, which is just helping them in the corner. But rewriting the whole thing, I don't think is going to come. Neither they are comfortable. They are the banking system board, when we talk about directors and the CEO, CTIO, they are also not comfortable with touching that one. They do a parallel project, see a output of that one and get across. With, I believe there is some innovation is happening by big five cloud players also. They're trying to bring some customized product line which can convert your AS code into a Java code or some microservices code, which is, they are already developed that one. So it will be interesting to see that how that AS400 code or COBOL code, which is like 1980s code, will be able to convert into something as good as your latest of Java or latest of microservices based code. But it's not happening in next 1 or 2 years. It will take time. They have intermediate solutions over there in the middle. So they're serving their purpose. But there is investment is there. If there is something very good product, if somebody can design, I never say no to anything, right? We should be optimistic and happy to take out that one.
Absolutely. So the next is about fraud and cyber risks, like, which are escalating in financial services. And you have also mentioned that.